You know, something really strange is happening in the UK right now. We're seeing two completely opposite stories unfold at the exact same time. One is all about careful, strategic planning, and the other is about pure, unfiltered chaos. And looking at them together, well, it tells you a lot about where the country is today. Okay, so let's dive into this. On the one hand, you have a brand new political party with a strategy that's so focused it's almost surgical. And on the other, you've got mobs of young people organising in what feels like seconds on social media just to cause mayhem on the streets. Let's really unpack what's going on with both of these things. So, first up, let's look at this controlled approach. We're talking about the new Restore Britain party, and they're rolling out a political strategy that is, well, it's pretty unusual to say the least. To really get why their strategy is so different, you have to start with this number, 124,000. That's how many members they've signed up already. I mean, for a new party, that's a massive base of support. It's actually more members than a Conservative party has. So you'd think they'd be flooding the upcoming local elections with candidates, right? Well, they're doing the exact opposite. And this is where it gets really interesting. Instead of the usual political song and dance, the party's leader, Rupert Lowe, is being incredibly blunt about it. He's basically coming right out and saying, look, even with all these members, we are just not ready to fight a nationwide campaign. What Lowe is instead set on avoiding are these so-called paper candidates. You know the type. People who are just there to get the party's name on the ballot. Opportunists, or worse, people with skeletons in their closet who could totally wreck the party's reputation before it even gets going. So what this all really boils down to is a bit on long-term credibility. They've seen other new parties try to grow too fast and then just implode. Their whole goal is to build something solid, a strong foundation, not some fragile house of cards that will fall over at the first gust of wind. And this number says it all. Across the entire UK, there are thousands of local elections happening, and Restore Britain, they're only contesting 10, not 100, not 50, just 10. And get this, all 10 of those fights are happening in one single place, Great Yarmouth. Why? Because that's the constituency of their leader, Rupert Lowe. The plan is to pour every bit of their resources, their energy, their money into this one area and create what they're calling a model constituency. It is a massive gamble for sure. You can see their whole roadmap laid out here, and it is incredibly methodical. Step 1, prove the concept. Win big in Great Yarmouth. Step 2, use that victory as a launchpad to build their national machine. And only then, a year later in 2027, will they even try to go national. They are playing a long game. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, so keep that story of discipline and control in your head, because now we're going to flip the script completely. We're pivoting to the exact opposite, total social disorder. Because while all that careful planning was happening, something else was just erupting in South London. Over in Clapham, thousands of kids gathered. But this wasn't some political rally. It was a chaotic, spontaneous event organised through social media, something called a Link-Up. And believe me, this is a whole different kind of organisation. And the way it works is, well, it's terrifyingly simple. A message goes out on an app like TikTok telling people to meet, and within hours, sometimes even minutes, that digital call to action turns into real-world mayhem with no clear leader, no clear goal other than just to cause chaos. People who were there described scenes of just pure anarchy. Local shopkeepers literally had to turn their shops into fortresses, barricading their doors to protect families who were just out shopping. They called it a virtual riot, with mobs of kids in balaclavas just running wild. But now, look at the official response to all this. Over 2 nights, you have thousands of young people involved in this disorder, and the number of arrests made? 3. Just 3. I mean, when thousands of people can get away with that, you really have to ask, what's stopping them from doing it again? And that leads to this chilling warning from a former police officer, Norman Brennan. He's suggesting these link-ups aren't just one-off incidents. He thinks they're a symptom of a much, much deeper problem, and he's warning that the country could be just one spark away from widespread, all-out disorder. So, let's just take a step back. How are we supposed to make sense of these two things happening at the same time? On the one hand, you have a political party obsessed with structure and control. On the other, you've got a youth movement that is defined by its total lack of it. What does that tell us about modern Britain? When you lay it all out side by side like this, the contrast is just, it's incredible. It's night and day. You've got one movement using old school infrastructure to try and meticulously build order, and another using new school social media apps to spontaneously create chaos. They are polar opposites in every way. So, what if what we're seeing here are two very different reactions to the exact same feelings in the country? On the one hand, you have a movement that's tapping into a deep desire for careful, structured, meaningful change. And on the other, you have a generation that's expressing its frustration through just spontaneous lawlessness and a total rejection of order itself. So, at the end of the day, what does all of this tell us about the national mood? Are these two things, this disciplined party and these chaotic mobs, are they actually just two sides of the same coin? Two different symptoms of the same problem? Or are we really seeing a nation that's being pulled in two completely opposite directions at once? That's the real question at the heart of this tale of two Britons. Thank you for watching the Daily Bollocks. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.